Hey dads, happy Father's Day. And I want to just encourage every man who is a father who's watching this. If you have boys at home, especially boys, I'm passionate about this because I have a son, he's 19. I don't know how old your son is. Maybe he's younger than that. Maybe he's a little bit older than that. But my message to you, and I'm going to keep it really simple for you men out there today. My message for you is to disciple your sons. And I want to take a look at this passage together in Deuteronomy chapter 6. This is when Moses is speaking to the fathers and the grandfathers and the sons and everyone, really, all of the families. And he's saying this before they are entering into the promised land to go live in the land flowing with milk and honey. It was kind of a momentous occasion. And Moses says this, "Listen, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one." And then he says, "You must love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your strength." That should sound familiar because Jesus says that this is the most important rule in the rule book. And then he says this, and I could just see him saying it to the fathers and the grandfathers in the crowd. He said, "You must commit yourselves wholeheartedly to these commands that I'm giving you today." He's talking about the 10 Commandments. Go read it for yourself. He's repeating the 10 Commandments to the people before they go into the promised land. And then he says, repeat these commandments again and again to your children. Talk about them when you're at home and when you're on the road, when you're going to bed and when you're getting up. I love that Moses is saying this to men thousands of years ago, and it is still so true today. In fact, dads, I think it is more important now in our culture than ever before with all of the information out there that our sons are being inundated with, all this secular information, which is bogus. It's a bunch of baloney. But dads, if you don't step in, if you don't engage your sons, and I know some of you are probably saying, look, my son doesn't really want to hear it. I don't care. Invest in your son. Mentor your son. In fact, I've just begun mentoring my son again as a 19-year-old. He's moved out of the house. He's off to college. And I've made a fresh commitment to mentor him. I'll show you how I'm doing that in just a second. But I've invited a couple of his friends. I've actually told him to invite a couple of his friends. So I'm mentoring my 19-year-old son and 2 of his buddies as we go through a series that I'm about to show you. But the point is that I'm still committed to speaking God's truth to my son over and over. When you're at home, when you're on the road, when you're going to bed, when you're getting up. He's basically saying just all the time, always be investing in your kids, men, especially in your sons. And he says this, tie these commands to your hands and wear them on your forehead as reminders. He's probably talking metaphorically there, kind of like how we say you wear your emotions on your sleeves. He's saying, I want you to wear God's word on your sleeves. I want to make sure that your kids have every opportunity to talk about God's truth with mom and dad. Now, dads, I get it. Some of you are saying, I don't know if I know the Bible well enough. I don't know if I can do it. Look, my dad, when I was young, he wasn't a pastor. He wasn't some great Bible scholar, but he got us up every morning when we were young, and he gathered the family together, and we read a proverb a day together, and it was really impactful on my life. I'll admit it, I didn't love it at first. As a young man, I didn't love it. But now when I look back on it, I realized how foundational that was, what my dad did for me and for my brothers and my sisters. And again, he wasn't some genius. He just got God's word into our hands, into our family room. He had us take turns reading the chapter for the day, and we had a simple conversation about it. God showed up, and it changed all of our lives. So I want to show you how you can do that using the tools at pursuegod.org. And specifically, dads, I want to show you how to get to the Father and Son devotional series. You go to categories, go over to Just for Men, click on that, and it'll pull up all of our men's content. I encourage you to use this every week in your men's group. But really, most importantly for right now, I want to show you where that Proverbs for Men and Boys series is. If you click on that series right there, it'll pull up this Father-Son series. It was inspired by my dad leading us in devotions when I was a young boy. And when you scroll down here, you can see that we've got all this content, and eventually we'll have all 31 Proverbs right here. Just click on one of them, pull it up, sit down with your son or your sons, watch this short video together, and then read the proverb together with your family. In fact, make sure that your son does some of the reading. Take turns reading this. That's why we've got it separated by section. And then there's just a few discussion questions that you can use if they're helpful for you to disciple your kid. Look, if Moses thought it was this important as he stood at the edge of the promised land, remember, Moses didn't get to go into the promised land, but all the other people did. And he wanted to make sure that families had a good start. So dads, on this Father's Day, make a commitment to disciple your sons, disciple your daughters. Use the tools at pursuegod.org to do it. And everyone will be blessed as you enter into the promised land that God so desperately wants for our families.